Welcome to this briefing and demonstration with the title In-House Operation Subcontracting with Material Flow and the subtitle The Setup, the Production and the Purchase Process. My name is Gert de Groot. Of course, the information is available on the support portal and can be found in the mentioned solution. As always, the full disclaimer. Please take some time to read this. Before you start watching this movie, it is recommended to watch the other movies as well, because this movie continues where the last movie stopped. The last movie is about operation subcontracting with material flow from an internal production site to an external subcontractor site, and this movie is about in-house subcontracting. Of course, I recommend and advise you to watch the full movie, but on this slide the time indication when specific parts will start. Before I do the demonstration in LN, let's first discuss the example with the help of two slides with PowerPoint. The focus is on in-house subcontracting. When we subcontract an operation, then in most of the situations we have an internal production site and an external subcontractor site. In this case, it is the internal production site 1 and external subcontractor site 4, and it is for subcontractor B. We can also have the business case in which the subcontractor will come to our internal production site 1, and he will do the subcontracted operation on our location. You can think of the following. We have built a machine and we need a certificate from an external party that the machine meets specific criteria. Only the external party is authorized to give the certificate. You can think, for example, of calibration. Let's start with the example. We have a business partner, a subcontractor, and the subcontractor needs a purchase order, and he will send us an invoice. The subcontractor will travel to our location. Let's make this visible. We remove the label External Subcontractor Site 4 for subcontractor B. We also move the yellow markings and the boundaries. So in the picture we only have internal production site 1. Then we add the label Subcontractor Location, Internal Production Site 1, Subcontractor B. Basically it is some dedicated floor space in a building at Internal Production Site 1. To make it more visible, I will add a few dotted lines, the markings. The first operation 10 is still the same. The laser cutting machine will make 3 holes in the metal sheet. At the end of operation 10, the outgoing subassembly is sent to the warehouse. With an external subcontractor site, we have the process of a warehouse transfer, a truck will move the goods, and we have outbound lines for warehouse 1, and we have inbound lines for the receiving warehouse. This all is not needed anymore. We simply issue the outgoing subassembly together with component A, and most likely a forklift truck or any other means of internal transportation will bring the goods to the subcontractor location. There is a purchase order with the agreed subcontracting purchase price. The purchase order has no material supply lines because it is normal internal transportation. When the subcontractor is finished with the work, then the subcontracting purchase order is received in the warehouse 1. The incoming subassembly is stored in the warehouse 1 at the location, and the production order operation 20 is automatically completed by the purchase process. The incoming subassembly is issued at operation 30 together with 2 components B. When operation 30 is completed, then the main item, the product, is received in warehouse 1, and we can complete and close the production order. In this movie, I will show the setup and I will demonstrate the process with the production order and with the subcontracting purchase order. It starts in session implemented software components, in which resources by site is active in this company. Also concept production, subcontracting with material flow, needs to be active. My internal production site 1 is linked to the planning cluster TR1. My external subcontractor sites are all linked to the external planning cluster sub. Now I will start the session subcontractor 360. I directly go to References and I tick Subcontractors. I open the subcontractor B and a new session Subcontractor Locations is started. Please see the label Subcontractor Locations, which is referring to or an external subcontracting site or to an internal production site. It is basically the definition where the subcontractor can execute the subcontracted operation. See, we have a record for external site 3 and external site 4. These are the locations where the subcontractor B has its business. Also see, there is a record for internal production site 1. With this definition, the internal production site 1 also serves as a subcontractor location for subcontractor B. When we open the record, then we have even more visibility. We have the subcontractor as subcontractor B. We have the subcontractor site as our internal production site 1. We have used by site, in which you will see the internal production site 1 again. This setup has been explained and demonstrated in the movie Master Data Resources by Site, but good to repeat it shortly in the context of this movie. In our example, we still refer to the reference operation painting, and for simplicity I keep it like that. See the data in the session Operation Subcontractors list. I have 4 records and the first record is marked as used for costing and used for planning. See that the other records do not have the marking used for planning or used for costing, because there can only be one record which can be marked as used for planning and only one record can be marked as used for costing. It will be possible to do the reference operation on internal production site 1. In the session subcontracting rates, I have 2 records. I will show this to you in a few seconds. 2 lines, and I want to have the focus on both records. I have for the cost calculation code 001 and the internal production site 1 and the reference operation painting and the subcontractor A and the subcontractor site 2, the subcontracting rate as €122. This has been explained in the previous movies. I also want to have the focus on the other record. For cost calculation code 001, internal production site 1, the reference operation painting and the subcontractor B and the subcontractor site 1. The subcontracting rate as €160 as in line with the picture from the PowerPoint. I will refer to this data within a few minutes in handling the production order for in-house operation subcontracting. I will start with the production process. For this demonstration, there is no difference whether the order has been transferred from order planning to job shop or whether it has been created manually in the job shop module. In this demonstration, I will insert the production order manually. We zoom into the operation 20, which is subcontracted. On the tab Capacity Subcontracting, we will see the subcontractor and the subcontractor site. On purpose, I have the subcontractor A and the subcontractor site 2. So not in-house operation subcontracting. When the production order would have been transferred from order planning, then this would have been the default situation, because the reference operation has been marked as used for planning in the session Operation Subcontractor list. In future, when we have constraint-based planning, then perhaps automatically another subcontractor and another subcontractor site would have been chosen. In this demo, I want to show you how easily we can change the subcontractor and the subcontractor site. But before I do so, I want to have shortly the focus on production order costing. Let's close the session. Via references, costs, estimated versus actual hours costs. And then let's open the subcontracted operation. You will see the recognizable amount as €122 in the field subcontracting costs. Now let's close the session and let's change the subcontractor. Original subcontractor A, and I want to change this into subcontractor B. The original subcontractor site is external subcontractor site 2, and I want to change this in the internal production site 1. I want to show you how easily this change can be made effective. Of course, the topic of this movie is about in-house operation subcontracting with material flow. So that's the reason why I have chosen this dataset. Before we continue, let's go back to the session where we can see the estimated subcontracting costs. See, the value has been changed from 122 into €160. Also note, this depends on the parameter update method for estimated hours, which I have against the value automatic at the level of my production site 1. Subcontracting is considered as buying hours, in this case not operation hours but subcontracting hours. I will release the production order. I will open the production order. On the tab Materials I have all the components. Via Views I can also show the subassemblies. Also see that at this moment all the allocations are on warehouse 1, and in this process, for this production order, with in-house operation subcontracting, all allocations will stay at warehouse 1, as in line with the picture in the beginning of this movie. The subassembly produced at operation 10 is shown as a negative issue. A negative issue is the same as a positive receipt. The outgoing subassembly needs to be consumed at operation 20. For the incoming subassembly, we have the same logic. It is produced at operation 20, so a negative issue, which is a positive receipt. The operation will be completed via interaction via the purchase process. I will show this later. The incoming subassembly needs to be consumed at operation 30. Before the production process can start, the metal sheet needs to be issued. Via Session Materials to issue for production orders, I start the process to issue the metal sheet. We first see all the materials linked to operation 10. I will issue the metal sheet. The production process for operation 10 is finished. The 3 holes are made in the metal sheet. I will return to the production order, and via Actions I will report the operation 10 as complete. I answer yes to the question to immediately post the subassembly to inventory. I have my warehouse order procedure as automatic, but good to see the data in the session Inventory by Specification, in which you will see the inventory position for the outgoing subassembly, and you can see the field allocated to reference. In this field you will see the production order number and the slash and the operation number 20. The subassembly can only be consumed for this production order number and operation number 20. Then I return to the session Material to issue for production orders, and I will open the material position 60. You can see the outgoing subassembly has been negative issued, so a positive received in the warehouse. Normally, you also book hours on a production order operation, in this case operation 10, but it has no added value for this demonstration, so I will not do this. Via the production order, via actions, via subcontracting, I start the session Generate Subcontracting Purchase Documents. I press Continue and a subcontracting purchase order is generated. Via the production order, via actions and subcontracting, I directly go to the purchase order. At the purchase order line, we see the subassembly in, which I want to purchase from my subcontractor, and the recognizable amount as €160, as shown before. Now the big difference. I have no material supply lines. This is of course not needed. There is no need for external transportation. I only need to inform my subcontractor about the price, €160, the date and the location, internal production site 1. I approve my purchase order. We print the purchase order and send it to the supplier and release the purchase order to warehousing. Now let's start again at the production order, and via actions and via material to issue for production orders, let's have a look at operation 20. This is now easy to explain. A forklift truck or any other means of internal transportation must move the goods from my warehouse 1 to the subcontractor location. Often a special place in the building at production site 1, often a dedicated number of square meters of floor space. When the subcontractor has received the outgoing subassembly, and in this case also the additional component A, then he can start with the subcontracted operation. The subcontractor is doing an operation we cannot do ourselves, but the operation is part of the production order and the associated costs must be booked on this production order. It can also be the situation the subcontractor can do it cheaper compared with our situation. From the 3 material positions linked to operation 20, I only discussed the component A and the outgoing subassembly. Please note, I didn't do anything with the incoming subassembly. Now let's go back to the purchase order. Assume at the end of the day, the incoming subassembly is received in the warehouse because the subcontractor did the work. We do the receipt. The purchase order line is received, and notice that this process has automatically completed the production order operation number 20. This because there is interaction between the purchase order and the production order. Via the production order, via actions, let's go to the session Materials to issue for production orders and let's have a look at operation 20. The receipt of the purchase order line also triggered the negative issue of the incoming subassembly, so a positive receipt. So again, interaction between the purchase order and the production order. At operation 30, we need to issue the component B, and we need to issue the incoming subassembly. Both items are necessary at operation 30, the mechanical point welding. Assume the operation 30 is completed and via the production order, via actions, we start the session Report Operations Completed and we complete the operation 30. We get the question to immediately post the main item to inventory. Please note, the question to book the main item to inventory depends on the parameter post to inventory when reporting on last operation. I also want to confirm the inbound process automatically. I complete the production order operation. Then I complete the production order, so the status will be changed from active into completed. I do get a message that no hours have been posted, but as told before, for this demonstration it didn't add any value, so I didn't book hours. The last step is to close the production order. Of course, keep in mind I showed you as much as possible the steps manually, because this is a demonstration. When optimizing your business process, you can of course choose for another set of parameters to minimize the handling you must do in LN. Now, when knowing the concept, the setup and the process for in-house operation subcontracting, you might wonder, why do we need subassemblies? Why do we need during completion at operation 10, for example, an outgoing subassembly? The first reason is the concept. The concept is operation subcontracting with material flow. So the words with material flow. I showed you on purpose how easy you can switch the subcontractor and the subcontractor location. Suppose you have planned to do the subcontracting at an external subcontractor site and you have your outgoing subassembly already in inventory. Last minute you decide to make a change, as demonstrated, which you must do for business reasons. Now we already have the subassembly with a reference in inventory. In this way of working with subassemblies, we are very flexible. Another reason why we need the subassembly is because of the production process. In a typical job shop environment, we have machines, and very close to the machines we have the unfinished products for many production orders waiting for their next operation. Sometimes it can be a rather busy and messy situation in a manufacturing plant. Of course not in your manufacturing plant, but I mean at other customers. You do not want the subcontractor to be part of this internal production process. By having the subassembly in the warehouse, you have a good inventory overview. The subassembly is in inventory or not, and the subcontractor can travel or not to our production site. The warehouse staff can be instructed to move the goods from the warehouse locations via internal outbound procedures to the subcontractor location. So a good choice from logistical perspective to work with subassemblies, even for in-house operation subcontracting with material flow. We will keep adding movies in the KB 2161224. The next movie is to show the process for operation subcontracting, but then without material flow. So the process with on the purchase order line an item of the item type subcontracted service. This is a concept which we already have for some decades in the ERP software, but still I want to demonstrate this because many customers use it. Please keep your eyes on the KB 2161224 or make use of the notify possibility. If we add a movie, then you will automatically get a notification via email via the support portal. If you like these kind of movies, then of course you can also let us know via a comment on the support portal. Thank you for watching this movie. My name is Gert de Groot.